I'm going to be sharing with you three very important things. Number one, a couple of theories about what the Earth realm is, how to wake up, and then also some of the tools so that you can stay lucidly creating within the dream. Welcome to my channel. My name is 𝗚𝗏. I've been in fitness since 2001, and I incorporate energy work into your eating and your exercise. This is not necessarily an eating video, not necessarily an exercise video, but this is about the ultimate culmination of being able to really master your eating and your exercise, which is being able to dream, to lucidly dream, to be awake within the dream of the human experience. But before we get started, I want to let you know that if you find this live stream helpful, I'm doing a drawing on September 8th to give either my mug, my Body Energetics mug that I made a few years ago, or my water bottle with my dragon Aurora and the heart chakra from Brain and Heart Coherence Breathing. You could opt to choose one of these if you win. And how you win is you share this live stream that's on Facebook, share it to whatever social media, your Instagram or your Facebook. Make sure you tag me. You could also share the link to the replay from YouTube if you are more of a YouTube person. But again, just make sure that you tag me on social media so that I could enter you to a drawing and then let you know that you actually won. And then you can pick out if you want the mug or the water bottle. So if this live stream is helpful for you, I would really appreciate it if you could share it so that I can spread this message to all the women around the world who are ready to be the next new humans in the new era that starts on February 20th of 2026. So I'm very excited about this. So that would be really incredible if you could help me out and share this video if it was helpful for you. So what we're going to get into today is a hot topic for me. It's something that I got really excited about years ago when I was figuring out that I was onto something, that I could tell what energy was showing up where. So in other words, I could see the feminine energy of feelings showing up in my food and my macro tracking and how frustrated I was with macro tracking. And then I also noticed where my mindset, my beliefs, my identity, and hurt feelings were residing in my body since I had to go the metaphysical route after I had my cervical disc injuries. And so, just a very short, scratch my nose, a very short thing or a very short review is that I had two cervical disc tears and I took 4 months off of social media, like so I wouldn't look down. I stopped doing my podcast and I thought that I was going to be able to self heal and avoid surgery. Well, 4 months came and went. I went back to the surgeon and he's like, you have to have surgery. Like, this is too much pain for too long. And I literally said, I was like, I thought people struggle with back stuff for years before they opt for surgery. And he's like, no, 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 4 months is long enough. So I typed it up on social media and I was like, looks like I'm going to get back surgery. And then somebody, I don't know who it was, said, you have to read Dr. John Sarno's The Divided Mind before you really go forward with your surgery. And so that was an incredible experience because I learned that a lot of the chronic conditions that we have in our body are because of suppressed emotions from, get this, inner child primitive, ages 0 to 3. So if you thought your 7-year-old inner child work was a pain in the you know what, just imagine what it's like to be more in the unconscious realm of how we're actually downloading feelings. And that's something that I want to share with you, that living the dream isn't about what you look like. It is about your feelings, and your feelings are the meaning you give your worth based on your body and what you do. And we can see this so much with women trying to complete, I'm one of them, the hero's journey of accomplishing something. Well, here's the thing. The hero's journey is about the masculine mindset of becoming something, of achieving something. And that's fabulous. We all want to have goals and we all want to move forward with something. But what that has done is completely eliminated the feminine aspect, the feelings, the intuition, and the instinct. And it goes way back into how civilization, how society has changed their belief in the higher power from goddess to god. So with the hero's journey, especially for someone like me who was born in the 80s, a lot of us have been raised by single moms or by moms that also had a career. And there has been the superwoman complex where we're supposed to do everything. Or if you're someone who has really put all of your effort, all of your energy into achieving something, you may check the boxes and achieve it, but you actually end up feeling depleted, exhausted, and you're like, what is this worth? There's actually no fulfillment. And I used to go through that all the time, and I would be really hard on myself because my like internal dialogue, which I'm very aware of for the most part now, so I'm able to hear it and not react to it. But I used to hear and react to learning something new and then being upset with myself for acting however it was I was acting or doing whatever it was that I was doing before I learned the new information, which is just ridiculous. Like that was like a really tough mindset that I had towards myself. And so I too struggled with checking the box. Like I had an international manufacturing business where I was actually making Pilates equipment. And that business had many facets. It had me working with factories to actually just get the material made, to get it cut, to get it dyed, to get it made, to get it shipped, like the whole thing. And I didn't like go to bed feeling better about myself because of that. I was glad I had the money and I was proud that I could have a business, but it was never good enough. It wasn't good enough that I worked with companies in Egypt, China, and Bali. That wasn't good enough to be a 20-year-old. There was no fulfillment in it. And so, what I thought back then was just that I had a perfectionist personality, an overachiever personality, and there was something inside me that I had to fix with inner work to not be that way. But what I want to share with you is that so many of us have gone through it, and it's so important for us to get objective, especially as a woman, to really understand that we are experiencing, especially if you've been born in the 80s, if you're in your 40s, we are that like the end result of really having a fracture in society to where we've gotten so polarized and the planets, FYI, are lining up perfectly for us to have identity politics, gender identity, sexual identity, because Chiron, which is the wounded healer, which means it's something about us that we are really good at, that we can help other people with. But also, the other side of the coin is it's something that we're always going to be working with. So for me, my Chiron is in Taurus. It represents the body. It makes perfect sense with all the health issues that I've had. But right now, that asteroid is in Aries, the first house of identity. So it makes sense that right now, in civilization, people are individuating even more from the collective based on their identity, what they're into. So, if we can really look at the experiences that us as women have been having and how the hero's journey and the achievement and the discipline and the masculine energy that we can very plainly see in diet culture or when we sign up for some sort of a squat challenge on TikTok or Whole 30 or Hard 75, like whatever these things are that we're supposed to be challenging ourselves and sticking with it no matter what, that is just a product of the times. And the time is going to change at 0 degrees Aries, the very beginning of the zodiac wheel, when a masculine planet and a feminine planet are going to be conjunct. They're going to be together. So we get to write a new story. And what will it be? It's going to be living the dream. Because if we go back to what I said, living the dream isn't about what you look like, because looks change. Like I love watching YouTube commentary videos and the Instagram filtered face, all the plastic surgery that a lot of women have gotten. Now the tide is turning and that's not the it look. So what are all these women going to do with plumped lips, the fox eye lift, and all their fillers? If that's not the beauty standard anymore, what are they going to do? What are they left with? What are we left with now that the Kardashians aren't doing a big voluptuous body? They're getting really thin with Ozempic and getting their BBLs removed. What's a girl to do? So it's not about what we look like, it's how we feel. And the really cool thing about feelings is that it is how we interpret emotion. And emotion is energy in motion that has a definition to it. And the energy in motion, the emotions, are how our higher self, our soul, our guides, our angels are all speaking and communicating with us. And so I want to share with you just some like three really quick little snippets of information to get you really inspired that you can live the dream. You can change the circumstances that are going on in your life, but it has to happen with your feelings first because it's your feeling, which is an emotion, which is energy in motion that is going to be attracting, magnetizing, and creating your life. Like you are the creator because you have your brain that's masculine frequency, the logos, that sends out all the information, or Sophia, because Sophia is kind of similar to the logos, and your body, your heart, emanating the feeling of already having it, or just emanating whatever it is that you feel. You have the creative ability, and you also have a magnetic ability. So let's get into it. I want to share with you a few concepts of what some people believe the dream is. Okay. I'm going to start with the first one that I haven't gotten into too much, which is the God workshop theory. And I just heard this a little snippet of it on 𝗵𝗵𝘃𝗀𝗃's The Breakdown, or The Breakdown with 𝗵𝗵𝘃𝗃 on YouTube. It's so good. She has astrophysicists, she has psychics, she has like former people who worked for the CIA. She has theoretical physicists. And a lot of the conversations are about energy and the invisible side and what does it actually mean to be human. And there are some topics of like, hey, civilization is like kind of a mess right now. We need to redo things. So it's such a great podcast. So I haven't listened to this episode yet, but the beginning of it says that there is a theory that we are actually living in a God workshop because astrophysicists have seen in subatomic parts. So you've got your atom that is mostly empty space. It's only 0.0001% material. And if we're made of atoms and the universe is made of atoms and it's only 0.0001% solid, that means everything is mostly nothing. The only thing that we have is our awareness. So this God workshop thing is that God is somewhere outside of our universe spitting zeros and ones for creation to take place. And I was like, well, that's something. Okay. Now, another theory is that this is the realm where our souls get to have the human experience for the purposes of learning how to manipulate energy. And manipulate has gotten such a bad rap, but really what it means is this is the place, this is the planet, this is the realm, this is the dimension, the third dimension, where we actually get to experiment with energy, which again is feelings, it's emotions. Our mind sets an intention, sets a goal, and then our feelings have to match it in order for us to keep up with the follow through of that goal. That's the only way it works. So for me, I have been fascinated with that space between setting the goal and achieving it, because that space is your feelings. That's the real thing that we need to go after, not a new fix, not a new diet, not a new workout program. What is actually between the setting the goal and following through? So that theory that this is a realm where we learn to manipulate energy largely comes from hypnotherapy clients of Dolores Cannon, where Dolores Cannon, a little old lady in Arkansas, she's passed away in the last like 10 years or something. But when she would put her clients under hypnosis, they would start to speak about past lives and then have zero recollection of what they said when they were in a non-hypnotic state, when they left the theta brainwave state. And there are many books by Dolores Cannon where she has been receiving messages from non-physical beings, from past lives, from angels, guides, whatever it is that you want to call them or what she called them. But she has all these books that through the years, she's been getting like little bits of the story. So her clients who were unrelated, completely unrelated to each other, would actually start speaking the story because it was an access point through the brain. And that's so fascinating because we have a collective unconscious. And the way we know that we have a collective unconscious is through the phenomenon of the patent office, that the US Patent Office gets patents all day, every day, sometimes for the same thing from different sides of the country, different ends of the country. How can you explain that? It's through the collective unconscious. And that's what Carl Jung talks about. That's what the astrology is all about. And so it makes sense with Dolores Cannon that that interpretation of this earth plane is to experiment with energy, to learn how to manifest. Another one is that we are actually 12-dimensional beings and we have 12 strands of DNA. And this was a place with our 12 strands of DNA, which means humans are a combination of 12 different interdimensional species in the universe in a physical body for the purposes to experiment with growth and evolution. And you could see this in Star Trek to a certain degree. The recent Star Treks that like were out in the last 10 years, where they show the spaceship interfering with a tribe. And like when they got back to like the mother spaceship, they got in trouble because they were like, you weren't supposed to be seen. And that's how cave drawings have pictures of spaceships and alien beings. It's very good. It's very good. Movies will tell us everything. That's our current mythology to understand how energy works. So go check that out. So the 12-dimensional DNA theory is really incredible because we're actually in a time where the prophecies are lining up to where we're actually going to be stepping into a full 12-dimensional DNA activation. And within this theory about what the planet is, it's that our ability to be the hybrid of 12 different types of interdimensional beings in a physical body on the earth plane for the experience of growth and evolution. Okay. Along those lines, how the story goes is that one of those interdimensional species decided that they wanted to have full control of the planet, and they broke apart 10 strands of the DNA, leaving us with just fear and flight reaction components of a species, the reptilian, which is why we have the reptilian brain. But I'm actually not fully on board with that because in the ancient civilizations, they talk about how a reptile being closest to the floor and able or ground and able to go under the earth is actually a representative of the feminine archetype, that we are one and of the earth. So I'm not fully on board with the whole reptilian thing, especially because the reptilian mind, unconscious mind, moon, menses all used to mean the same thing. That's just my 2 cents. So these are some of the theories. And if you listen to, like Alan Watts or Ram Dass, if you really listen to these people who have been studying psychology, especially if they have a Jungian depth psychology aspect to it, and they consider the unknown, the mythology, the non-physical experience, you're really going to hear the same thing, that we do get to create. And it's only a matter of us recognizing that we are a creative being versus experiencing life at us and to us versus because of us. And that just opens up a whole can of worms about the ego, about the shadow, and about the self when you're actually connecting with your soul, your inner being, and you're able to take the wisdom from the ego, which is just over masculine energy, and the wisdom and the depth of the shadow, which is just underused feminine energy. And when you put it all together, you're lucid in the dream. We want to create our own reality. So that's the first thing that I wanted to share with you. Just some ideas of what some people are hypothesizing what the Earth experience is. The second thing that I want to show with you is how to wake up. And the how to wake up can happen it can happen as many different ways as there are people. But I think I'll mention 3 of them. One of them is your Saturn return. So your Saturn is a masculine planet, and in some of the mythology, he represents Satan. He's enough said. He eats his children, but also in the mythology, because everybody has good and bad in them, right? To be a complete thing. It's not all positive and it's not all negative. Some of the other mythology around Saturn is that he actually really wants you to win. He wants you to fulfill your mission, vision, and purpose. He wants you to, as a human, to act in alignment with your soul. So some of the things about the Saturn return is that it's a 28-year cycle. So from when you were born in your natal chart to 28 years later, Saturn will have made its way around to being wherever it was when you were born. And with that, when that happens, it's like 28 years old. If you are not on your soul path, Saturn will wreck shop, bring you to your knees so that you are at rock bottom, so that you make different choices. Wild, right? And for me, that's like around the time I got diagnosed with PTSD because, sorry, because my mom's stalker. And that's when binge eating stopped working. Ding, 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 ding. You could also just have something really traumatizing where you can hear this little voice, or you have this sensation in your body that there's something more, or there's something more for you to do. It's not your time, like whatever, stuff like that. So we've got the Saturn return as one way to have the wake up call. You have a traumatizing event that makes you realize something different. And then another way is that you can slowly awaken. And I hadn't heard this before, and I was so excited because I was really like questioning myself of like, is the fat life really going to work for everyone the same way it's worked for me? Can I actually say you're going to connect with your soul? So I've really been one of my clients in the Fat Life, Jody Lynn. She says noodling. She noodles something around in her mind. I've been really noodling that. And I listened to the breakdown with Mayim Bialik with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is someone who had a spiritual awakening. She died and she saw the other side, and she came back into her body. And now she has a spiritual community that meets at 4 o'clock on 4 o'clock Pacific time. You can get her Zoom link from Instagram. But one of the things that she said is that, I mean, she died because she overdosed. One of the things that she said is that in AA, they promise you a spiritual awakening if you keep working the 12 steps. I did not know this. So when I heard that, I was like, you can proactively spiritually awaken, because it is just emotion. And the more you're able to really synthesize with your shadow and your ego, the more you're actually able to feel yourself, feel your soul, instead of what the illusion is the mirror. Is that really what happens when we experience something? It's either our ego reflected back to us, it's our shadow reflected back to us, or it's our soul. The soul ones usually feel good. So if we get stuck in the dream, if we lose our mind in the dream, like Inception or like the movie What Dreams May Come, we will continue to experience the world as if it's happening to us. But if you do the emotional work to really look at your masculine energy of the overachieving and protection, to really look at your feminine energy of how you don't feel good enough and how you sabotage, then little by little, you're going to chip away and find your soul. So that's another way that you can have the wake up call. The final thing that I want to share with you is a few ways to stay awake and create as you go. So this is very, very easy. I'm telling you, it is not that hard. The hardest thing is to believe that is possible, that it is possible. And the second hardest thing to believe is that you are divine. You're not separate from the universe. And whatever creative principle that theoretical physicists have said, actual astrophysicists have said, the mythology, like it all points in the same direction, that this is not by accident. There is an organization to this entire experience, and everything has energy. You can Google auras of leaves, of rocks. They all have energy. You are not separate from it. If everything is energy and this is divinely orchestrated, there's no possible way for you to not have this ability, or whatever it is that's on your heart is too grandiose. It's just impossible. But those are really hard to believe. Number one, it's really hard to believe that you can do it. Number two, it's really hard to believe that you are like that awesome. Once you get through that, and like that takes time, and there's definitely times where you don't feel it's true, you feel like a loser, you feel like none of it's working. But as you put in the repetition of what I'm going to be sharing with you, when you do the repetition to be able to see your masculine energy and your feminine energy, then you create more of a communication system with your body. And your body is where the energy gets frozen. So here's a really cool concept from 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏. When I was learning a lot of this stuff, like in 2019, I went to a conference with Joe Dispenza and 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏. I saw them in person. It was so cool. And 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏's been doing a lot of podcasts around this new era that's coming. And one of the things he said was that the body doesn't actually store energy. The energy is supposed to be moving through it. And that really got me thinking, because I was like, wait a minute, we've got Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. We have the metaphysical books that tell us the spiritual meaning of body parts. How is that not true? And I was like, oh, it's because we're mostly not here. We're only 0.0001% matter. That's it. So the energy should be able to move through all of this empty space. And the only reason why it doesn't is because our mind gets in the way, falls asleep in the dream, forgets we're dreaming, and then starts experiencing it out of control. And then we feel like a victim, then we have to protect, or then we don't do anything because we feel too bad. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to notice how you feel when you eat, when you think about food, when you think about your weight. And I want you to notice if you start to make a list of everything that you should and shouldn't eat, if you start looking for a diet, if you start playing on MyFitnessPal with your perfect macro ratio. And I want you to notice how you feel when you think about the results that are going to come if you follow through with whatever new diet you're thinking about. Because how you're going to feel at the end of that diet at your goal weight tells us how your soul already feels or wants to feel. And it's just your mind playing a trick on you, thinking that if you saw that number on the scale, or if you saw your reflection in the mirror, then you would be complete, then you would be happy. The next thing is I want you to notice how you feel about the body parts that you don't like and the body parts that are dysfunctional. Because here's my theory about it. Your body is the unconscious mind. We know that from several scientific resources, and I'm not going to get into them. But the body is the unconscious mind. So when you look at it in the mirror, or you're looking at it in real life, it's acting as the mirror that we get lost in the dream that becomes a nightmare instead of a lucid dream. So I want you to look at the body parts that you don't like and really tap in and figure out what you make these body parts mean about your worth. Like if your arm jiggles, if you have cellulite on your stomach or the back of your legs, or you don't like the size of your body. These things that you don't like about it are telling us your shadow, what you think is not good about you. And this is just stuff that we learn from human conditioning in 0 to 7. The body parts that are dysfunctional, this is what I think about the dysfunctional ones, is that they are holding it down twice as hard for you. They are such a great support system, because if they are not functioning correctly, there's really something wrong going on. Energetically, if your body is not optimum, there is something going on, right? Because we're mostly not here. We're only 0.0001% material. So it's like my body as an example, I don't have a perfect spine. It has like 3 malformations in it. But if I was who I am now in my 20s, I would not have worked myself so hard to deteriorate my body really kind of prematurely and cause injuries, because I was not tuned into it. I didn't notice that my malformations were actually the thing causing me pain. And I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until my neck snapped. So, yes, we can have structural stuff with our bones, with our ligaments, with our alignment, with our repetitive motion. Like if you're at a desk that's an L shape and you're rotated a lot, that is going to eventually cause injuries. But what I'm saying is, when there's something in your body that really is not working properly, there's a whole energetic component, which means, in my theory, in my experience with myself and with clients, that the part that's not functioning, not only is it storing the shadow, the bad feelings that you have about yourself, it's also doing the work as of the ego to protect yourself from it because you're not tuned into it. There isn't a connection. So you've got feminine energy that doesn't feel good. And then you have masculine energy that's trying to protect your conscious mind from knowing how bad you feel. And so the tissue just deteriorates. And the more that we're able to actually look at why we feel bad about ourselves and then how we react to protect ourselves from whatever perceived danger we think is going to happen, when we unpack that, you get more in tune with your soul. So then you're not acting so much in your ego and in your shadow. And the more you move out of ego and shadow as the operating system into more of how it is part of your wisdom, then you're able to really tap into your soul and stay as awake as possible in the dream to where bad shit happens, stress happens. It does not eliminate bad things from happening, but what it does do, it gives you some slow down buffer time to experience the mirror and be like, this didn't happen to me. What in me, what in this experience is similar to my ego, my overdeveloped masculine energy? What in this experience is similar to my shadow, my underdeveloped feminine energy? Okay, now you don't have to react. Now you don't lose your mind to the dream. Now you can actually do some inner work. And then when you do that inner work, you get wiser and you're able to listen to your soul. And then it just compounds, it gets more and more. This is the spiral. This is like one of the original symbology of the higher power associated with the goddess, that life is cyclical. Life is always going to have a return. And the spiral is that we ascend the spiral because we have a better view, or we descend in the spiral and we're like feeling worse and worse and worse because it's a copy of a copy of a copy, and a copy of a copy of a copy is never a good copy. So I'd love for you to play with these things. It's at 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Oh my gosh, that was, but I want to let you know that if you want to wake up in the dream, there is a very powerful manifestation portal that started at the new moon on Virgo at 0 degrees Virgo on August 22nd, 23rd, depending on where you are in the world. A new moon has a 6-month culmination cycle. And so this new moon is going to come into harvest in March. And in March, we will be about 4 to 5 weeks in to the new era. After these powerful planets have conjunct in 0 degrees Aries, when we get to form a new era. Ladies, you are alive for a change of civilization. We can really bring the heroes, the heroine's journey to life, to where we can be in tune with our feelings, our intuition, and virtually we can manifest on command because that's how our bodies are designed energetically. It's very amazing. So the PHAT Life curriculum is usually 3 months, but if you want to stay an extra 3 months to complete this manifestation portal, it's going to be so good. Like, we're already doing something, which I would love for you to do also if you think that you want to join on September 8th, is we are writing a celebration presentation, like a TED talk, but it's a Miss New Human talk, where the girls, there's 3 women in the PHAT Life already, where they are going to give us, all of us, we're going to be in the audience, a presentation about their mission, vision, and purpose. And they're going to tell us as if it has completely come into fruition, because in the 6 months, we're going to be reverse engineering how they are going to become the energetic match to this 6-month harvest using their eating and their exercise. We charge the eating and the exercise with the emotion of already having the thing that we want. So that way, our actions are completing a cycle of manifestation of thought, feeling, and action. We're triggering to the universe when I move, you move. Just like that, when I move, you are putting in the reps to say that you are someone who does what they say they will do. And you are building your emotional intelligence along the way to be that person more and more. So, what happens is when we have sabotage come up with eating and exercise, when we have resistance to follow up come up, that's where we get to look at the feminine energy that has been suppressed for at least 3 to 4 thousand years, whenever the matriarch switched to the patriarch. So we get to work through thousands of years of suppressed emotion, but it's so fabulous. It's so good. It's so rewarding. It's $222 a month. And there are details. Well, you can ask me for details, but it's $222 a month. There's an additional 2 other layers of support where if you want to be kind of in the mastermind, where you have Hot Girl Hotline, where you can call me anytime, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Or and in the mastermind level called the Coven, we have a weekly group exercise. The $222 gets you a weekly training around one of the 5 vaults that help you lucidly dream. And then we have a monthly group coaching call. And then there's private, and private is private. Enough said, right? So if you sign up for the $222, well, if you sign up for any of them, but the $222 link has an affiliate link that you can give to your girlfriends, and you get 40% commission every single month. So 40% of $222 you will get as long as one of your referrals stays enrolled in the program. So that's really awesome too. If you have any questions, just reach out to me, Lauren at lauren@laurensarcione.com. And you can go to laurensarcione.com to sign up for the PHAT Life.